Every night, your brain or your mind creates a world that feels real, a world that is full of symbols, emotions, and messages. And here's the thing that most people don't really know, and here's the part that you are not told or most people are not aware of. Your dreams aren't random. They are not coincident. They are not noises from your brain. They are your brain, your mind, your unconscious, or your psyche, whatever way you want to put it, trying to convey information to you or trying to bring you into consciousness or awareness about certain happiness around your life. Now, it could be things that you didn't really pay attention to while you were up or while you were awake, while you were conscious. But now, as you go into bed, your brain or through your dreams, your brain is trying to bring you into this various happening or into consciousness of these various things that are happening around your life. In today's video or tonight, whatever time you're watching this video, we are going to understand what your brain are actually doing and what they are asking you to do or pay attention to and why they want you to pay attention to these things. We are going to be covering all of that into this video. Stay tuned for that. Welcome to AimUP. I'm your host, Nate. Neuroscientists like Andrew Huberman believe your dreams are your brain way of processing emotion, right? Memories, and even unresolved conflict or problems. So anxiety, trauma, and all of these things. And then you have psychologists, right? Like Carl Jung, the great psychologist, I call him, that also talks about dream is your brain way of also bringing to you or revealing to you things that you evolve or that you haven't dealt with or things from your shadow. And he spoke about the shadow and the ego. Now you can go read about that in his work and go into depth about that. Your shadow is basically things that that are hidden, that you have repressed, that you have suppressed, or now it could be things that are there that you are not really aware of, but are trying to make themselves new from the unconscious, right? Or things that you are aware of, but yet you repress. So instead, your dreams bring those things into light, or make you aware of these things, or bringing those things into your conscious, at least, right? Now, despite it being different fields or different places, psychology and that of neuroscience, right? They all say the same things. And even spirituality or people that do believe in some divine power, we all do say the same thing, that your dreams are not just random, right? They are not just your brain noise, or they are not just, random visualization going on while you are asleep. They are actually communication. They are actually communicating something. That is not to say that every single little dream that you have at night actually trying to convey something to you. Now, that may not be the case, but majority of the time, or if you pay attention to your dream, you realize that they relate to something about your life or in your life, or something that has to do with you. So to understand, there is a communication happening from your unconscious, from your psyche, from your mind, from your brain, whatever way you want to put it, but there is a communication happening. And you, myself, right, we all need to pay attention to that. Now, for you to understand dreaming, right, you first of all have to understand REM. What REM is, basically rapid eye movement. So it's that stage that you get to wherein you actually start to dream, right? You start to have more vivid and emotional images, right, being projected to you or in your dreams. Let's say it like that, right? That's the stage you get to. And now there are other forms of dreaming. You also have lucid dreaming. So basically you are part awake and part sleep. So but you are conscious of dreaming. And in that stage you have almost like a creative control or on the narrative of a dream, as compared to doing REM, wherein your emotion is completely in charge. So what happened there is this: when you enter the stage of REM, during REM stage, something strange happened. Right? So the logical aspect of your brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, shuts down, right? Or at least, to understand, is minimalized, or in terms of its function, it's not functioning the way it would function as compared to when you are awake. But then the visual and the emotional aspect of you, right, of your brain takes absolute control during dreams. So that's why you see dreams in themselves is like are symbolic, because you see images that are sometimes unrelated, right? Or you cannot relate to images that are not familiar with you, but people that are not familiar, you see yourself in places that are not familiar. So they work more in symbolism. It's the same, almost the same thing when you are awake and you are imagining things. Right? It's not, you're not necessarily imagining things that I would say it's strange to you, but when you are imagining things, your logical aspect of your brain is minimalized, right? Now, when you are awake, it's still functioning, but it's minimalized at least to some extent, because you're imagining things, you imagine a certain possibility. Now, if it doesn't have to do with somewhat of a scientific process, you fantasizing, right? Your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical aspect of the brain, is reduced to some extent, and you just imagining stuff. But now imagine going to bed and that is completely shut down, so your brain just go wild, or at least the emotional part of your brain just go wild. Because of the emotional aspect of your brain taking over, this makes dream to feel more intense, right? More symbolic and even chaotic, right? So your brain is reorganizing your emotional life, so to speak. So Huberman introduced the idea that dreams are therapy with a therapist, and which is interesting, right? Because especially considering their understanding of dream, or their interpretation of what dream is all about, which is basically revealing to you your emotion, or some hidden part of your life, or some part of your life that you are not paying attention to. So basically bringing your attention to something. Now, if you pay attention to the entire therapeutic process or therapy, right, at least from a psychological standpoint, that's basically what's happening, right? When you go for therapy, you sit there, somebody listen to you, they try to uncover things that happen, be it anxiety, be it trauma from your early childhood. So now they're trying to uncover this thing, because the moment you become aware of them, then you know how to deal with them. Now, Carl Jung has this thing that he says that if you do not make the unconscious conscious, right, the unconscious will lead you, and you will call it fate, right? So that's basically the process. When you go for therapy, it's basically them trying to make the unconscious conscious, or things that happen to you, or your repressed memory, things that you forget about, that you repress, anxiety that you are forgotten about, or you repress to the extent you don't want to remember. Even willingly, you don't want to remember. Now, they bring those things up because once you start understanding these things, right, you become conscious of them. It helps you understand your inner self even better. And that's why he said dreams are like a therapy with a therapist. Basically, you are not paying for it. So they show you things that you need to know, that you need to be aware of, that you need to be conscious of. So it helps you in terms of your relationship with yourself. So whenever you dream, right, your dream either present to you one of these three questions, or one of these three things, right? What is it in your life that you need to face, that you need to pay attention to, that you need to, engage with, that you need to deal with? Let's say it like that. 2, what is it in your life that you need to heal from? Right? It can be a trauma. What is it that you need to heal from? 3, what is it that you are not admitting to yourself? Right? Something about you that you are not admitting, that you're running away from, that maybe it does not make sense from a moral standpoint, because that was one of Carl Jung's point as well. The shadow often is conflicting with our moral, understanding, or our moral phenomena. So because of that, it makes it difficult when we're trying to integrate the shadow, right? And we understand dreams also help in terms of revealing to us the shadow as well. So what is it in your life that you are not admitting to yourself? So this is one of the 3 questions, or one of the 3 phrases that your dream present to you. The psychology of dream. Now, psychologists believe that dream reveal to you what you evolved, right? We already mentioned that with Carl Jung, right? That's what he believed. The shadow, right, revealing itself through your dreams. So if you have a dream, right, you are being chased. Your mind is telling you there is something in your life you are running from, right? Most of us have this type of dream, and it often comes in when you, like, there's something you need to do with, something that you need to face. That's why I say your dream either asks you one of these 3 questions. What is it that you need to face? Something you're escaping from. When you're escaping from something, that's when you start having this type of dream, because you are running away. So now that fan in your dream is expressed as you running away from people, you are running away from something, you are running away from a dog, you're being chased. Now, the important thing is this: it's not so much about what's sometimes chasing you, right? It's about just the little fact that you being chased, right? Sometimes what chasing you also give you much detail into what's being conveyed to you. But you being chased could mean you also, avoiding or running away from something. If you dream you are falling, it's also your brain telling you, that you fear losing control of something in your life, whether it's your relationship, whether it's identity, a version of yourself. You are afraid of losing it. Maybe this might happen to you, especially when you are getting older, right? It's like you're losing your youth, right? Again, I'm young, so maybe I'm not necessarily understand, but there's this people go ahead and say midlife crisis. You people get to experience that. You losing your youth. You are not as agile. You are not as mobile as you would love to be, as when you were in the days of your youth. So that's gone, and because of that, you start having dream of you falling. You losing a certain part of your life, because when you fall, what happens is that you're losing a particular position. Right, that's all it is. Whether you're on the mountain, you fall, you're on a table, you fall. What happens is this: it's like a shifting of position, a shifting of placement. That's all it is, right? You were standing and now you fall. You see, that's all it is. And when somebody from your past shows up in your dream, right, it's less likely about the person. It's more about unresolved emotions and unresolved feelings. So basically, it's something that you have to deal with. Again, one of these three questions, right, comes back to you. What is it you haven't admitted to yourself? What is it that you need to heal from? And what is it that you need to face, right? So most people think dreams aren't real, right? Because they themselves don't really track their dreams, because they just look at it at a projection of their thought, which is something you can really, dispute, because the emotional aspect part of your brain being at play, projecting things, right? That's why it's like the emotional and visual aspect of your brain, needs to come alive for dreams to happen or for REM to occur. So in a way, they are not necessarily wrong, but the reason why they see dreams the way they see dreams, because they themselves are not tracking that dream. Because if you pay attention to your dream, you will see a pattern, right? Whenever you have a dream, it comes in one of these five things: either what you're scared of, what you desire, what you regret, what you haven't accepted, and what you are becoming. So one of these five things, right? It shows up. So what you are scared of, it could also be asking the question what you need to face, right, in your life. What you desire, right, it could also be asking the same question of what you need to face or what you need to accept, right, in your life, right? You remember the three questions. Here's the simplest way to understand your dream. Right. Whenever you have a dream, if for those that don't believe it, for even those of us that believe dreams actually mean something, and here's a way for you to actually keep track of your dream, right? You often hear the phrase "keep a journal" or "dream journal," right? Actually do that. It actually helps, right? Now, when you get up, write down what you feel, right? Forget about the details of the little things that happen. Just write down what you feel, right? Write down the symbols that you saw. Just a moment. Don't go nothing complicated, because sometimes recalling this thing don't really quite happen. It will take you a little bit. It will take you a minute for you to be able to get the entire dream, right? Because oftentimes when you wake up from a dream, you don't quite remember every single details about the dream, but you are left with a particular feeling concerning whatever dream that you have during the night, right? That's what Carl Jung said. Feeling is very, very much essential in terms of us trying to understand psychic content, right? Because if we're trying to understand things from our brain, things from our conscious, right, we need to pay attention to our feeling, because oftentimes it's our emotions and our feeling that are driving these things. So when you get up, right, you write down how you feel. Now, you may not necessarily remember the entire content of the dream itself, but write down exactly how you feel. It helps you in terms of understanding what understanding the dream or what message is being conveyed to you. It is something that you need to pay attention to, because if you feeling bad, if you feeling angry, if you feeling sad, and you write down those particular feelings, it kind of shows you what stage of your life you are currently in. Do this for 1 week, right? You will start to see themes, you will start to see repetition, and once you start seeing patterns, right, you will understand the message. Because That's all it is. When you start having dreams and you writing it down and you start paying attention to the little details, you will see patterns and you will see repetition. It's like a encoded, encrypted message that you need to decode. And how you do that sometimes is by paying attention to the patterns that is repeating themselves. So, the most common example I could think about is Pharaoh's dream in the Bible that Joseph interpreted, right? You have three. That was a constant, repetition in the dream. So you saw, the fat cows, and then you saw the lame cows, and all of these things, and all of that, right? So you see repetition, and it kind of helps you in terms of understanding, what message being conveyed. Your dreams are a mirror, not of your day, but of your inner world, right? So, and the more you pay attention, the more the pattern reveal themselves to you. In the next episode, we are breaking down recurrent dream. Why the same dream keep happening? Why the same dream keep occurring? What message is your brain trying to convey to you? What is your brain trying to pay attention to? Is it immediate? Is it important? Is it serious? Is it an emergency? We're going to be targeting all of that. If you care about understanding the content of your inner self and making interpretation of them and integrating them into your real world, then this is the channel for you, right? Subscribe to this channel, AimUP, right? I'll be bringing you more of this content. There's an episode 2 of this series coming your way. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Much appreciated. Again, I'm your host, Nate. Thank you.